There we go. So yeah, this is the loading screen for Galactic Civilizations 3, also known as Gal Civ 3. A game that I am not going to really be playing, I don't think, because this is a game from Stardock Entertainment. And, you know, I think I've told this story before, at least a couple of times from early games in this series, possibly some others. But Stardock Entertainment is a company owned by a guy called Brad Wardell, who sucks a lot, in some very interesting ways. I am not going to do a tutorial, because I recall this is basically just Civilization. I mean... Oh, okay. The Squirrels Life has their DLC. Yeah, sure. But anyway, yeah, so... Brad Wardell is a big fan of, like, sci-fi strategy games, and has published several of them. Some of those previously independently from pretty cool people. I think this game here, which was internally developed, had somebody that I know and generally like work on it. However, the head of this company is just, like, the worst guy. My first encounter with him was over 10 years ago now, when a person I was friends with at the time had a whole lot of awful Nazi stalkers going on, and at one point, this led to someone styling himself a comic artist doing a really, really gross comic strip about them involving performing just out of frame sex acts on random people, which is just gross and inappropriate even if you don't like someone for good reasons, much less for reasons of being like a little Nazi piece of garbage. And anyway, while this was being passed around, Brad Wardell was like, "That's great, I should hire you as an artist." And like, okay, that's really weird and creepy, guy in the game industry. And so people were calling him out on that, and then he was just like attacking other random people and just like stalking people and being obsessive. And there's like at least some rumor about there being an office policy where this is a screen, an office policy of just like no women are allowed to be on the same floor of the building as him, just so that there's no chance of a lawsuit happening. And that's certainly a way to do that. Let's see. Let's make a lab. Oh, okay, is that picking a tile for that? What does this hot spring do? I see. Yeah, over here, let's make a lab. And we have some things. Let's see. Do we have the wonderful auto explore button? Nope. Okay. So yeah, that was like not pleasant, and then I was having to deal with this creep for like a good long while. And also other people who worked for him who are like for some reason just I will also I will also like go around stalking random women on the internet on behalf of my boss, because that's a thing to do. Let's see. Sure. So that was one nasty encounter. It is. And also just generally an unpleasant fellow. And then the other thing that's perhaps more relevant is... That's a weird thing to have a hotkey for. I'm starting to scroll the map around. But yeah, another thing was there is this really wonderful game these days called the Urquan Masters, originally called Star Control 2, which I believe you can still get for free these days. It is an old DOS thing. If you ever played Starflight on the Genesis or around that period, that was very influenced by Star Control 2 or vice versa. I don't know, they're tight is the thing. That sort of thing of just, here's my spaceship, let me go explore the galaxy, meet weird aliens, have conversations with them, find out that there's an actual plot, and go advance the actual plot. Very good game. And this is called the Urquan Masters because the video game industry is what it is, and you lose naming rights for your stuff sometimes to publishers who then sell them and sell them and sell them. And there was this whole thing where Stardock wound up buying the trademark to Star Control. They didn't get the actual games, just like the ability to use the name. And they were very confused about this, and that they did not, in fact, buy the ability to publish the previous games in the series. And there was a whole weird lawsuit about it that was just like really, really ugly, and like everyone was in favor of, the actual like developers of the game who are making an actual sequel, which they kickstarted and looks great. It like still has the same this is a game from like 1995 look to it, despite being made these days. I guess that's a turn. But yeah, that was a whole weird mess that was like making headlines for forever and just like destroyed any goodwill there could have been. But ultimately what it comes down to is like, yeah, the publisher of this game like personally has harassed me and people I know and care about, and therefore can go to hell, and I'm not going to spend that much time playing what is, again, just, you ever play Civilization? This is one of those. And it's like, what is this? Wait, is this an actual edge of... This is a small map by default. Wow. That's apparently the world? Go down here, find some things? Also, this camera controls are, like, really swimmy. But anyway, like, it's kind of a shame, because one of my favorite games of all time is Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, which I don't know if I've ever streamed before, but should. I'm gonna go explore this way. Okay. It's not like a lot of flavor to this, just early on at least. I'm not really going to spend a lot of time just because, again, like, I am committed to at least showing off everything that I have in my Steam library, but, like, it's a due diligence thing. And it's weird, too, like, it shouldn't be hard to make your own, like, Civilization clone, but for some reason, I don't know why, like, there's a secret sauce that people just don't seem to get. They tend to be, like, very, very sterile. They tend to be way too focused on the military angle of things. They tend to have tech trees that are just kind of... where is the tech tree menu? Oh, here it is. Like, okay. Just generically, have guns, have shields. Like, I don't know. Civilization actually has, like... Well, here's the invention of the wheel, and therefore, here are some, like, wheeled vehicles. Here are, like... better masonry things and like this stuff. It's a bit more flavorful, and like Alpha Centauri was a little weird with it, but still kind of had the same vibe going. And then some of the things are like Weapons 5, and it's like, give me something. And then they also all like really, really live or die on the quality of like the diplomacy screen, which is why Alpha Centauri is the best game in the genre still. And a lot of recent Civ games kind of fall flat for me. But anyway, yeah, it's an unremarkable Civ clone in space. It's got kind of a bad UI and is tacky and is made by a terrible person. So anyway, or at least published by a terrible person. It was made by some decent people, I'm fairly sure. Anyway, here's the victory methods. Pretty standard stuff. I do not care for this, and I spent enough time playing one of these last week. Yeah, exactly. You got to have some like flavor and story in there. I'm not so close.